This is Ed in San Diego, and you're on Global TV Talk Show. So you can see our beautiful logo and beautiful blue ocean behind me. Our very special guest today is Dr. Andrew Woods, and he's based in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, about 1,000 miles uh, north of where I sit here in Southern California on the Mexican border in San Diego. Dr. Andrew Jones is an author of a couple of books. One of them is called The Audacious Ask. And like me, I'm a salesman. So the audacious ask is always asking for the business, right? Or asking people to do something. But this is not about that. Coming up in a few minutes, Dr. Andrew Woods and I are going to discuss his newest book. And it's all about soft skills in the AI world. There's a place for soft skills. They've been around a long time, and now they have new applications. They have a new purpose. So it's repurposing, reinventing, reskilling, and upskilling using AI. But as a recent guest interview of mine, the head of AI product for the multinational corporation called ADP, she said that AI is necessary and we all have to learn more about it and use it right. AI will never replace humans in total, but they will do a lot of tasks that humans either struggled to or were involved in time consequential applications. AI could speed all that up. But the humans, in other words, me and you, it's up to us to interpret that and apply it and make it work in a human-centric environment. Anyway, Dr. Andrews will be with us in a few minutes, and he'll have a lot to say, much more than me. He'll have a lot to say about this topic. So, thank you. All right, we're back here, and I'm in San Diego, and once again, this is Global TV Talk Show, Blue Ocean out there. You don't see any plastic, you don't see any lions or sea serpents, or it's just all blue. And with us coming from north of the border in the beautiful Vancouver, Canada, British Columbia, Dr. Andrew Woods. And we've known each other several years. He has spoken at several of my live meetings. Remember those days? Wow. And wrote a book called Audacious Ask. What was that, about 5 years ago? Something like that.
2022, so a little less.
Yeah. And I was honored to be featured in that as one of the featured entrepreneurs. That's because I'm not afraid to ask.
And you have a good story.
You're very kind. Audacious Ask is not just about people who like to brag about themselves and ask for money. It's something else, right?
Yeah, the whole idea came up. A lot of my students I teach in a couple of universities here in Vancouver. Actually, one now, University of Canada West. I teach on the MBA program, and a lot of the students are international students, and there's sort of a cultural piece. You know, I've heard you in your other programs talking about Hofstede and the cultural dimensions and these sort of things. There's this power distance where they feel shy to ask for things. So it kind of grew out of this concept of people not putting themselves out there. So I took it further as I teach entrepreneurship, small business management. How do we get people to ask for the things that they need? And I started contacting people who were guests on Shark Tank. And, I reached out to about 25 people. All 25 answered me because I asked. And I asked them when they put themselves out there to, you know, by asking for things, how that took their careers, their entrepreneurship journey to a whole new level. And some of them feature in the book.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to quote you, not word for word,
Depends,
but the
depends what you
idea
say.
that you're the author of this book called Audacious Ask, and I happen to be honored to be part of that along with others. And now I have to ask you for money. So how audacious is that? Don't answer it. But I'm just talking about you as a you, and not you as a target. So now you have a new book, and it's something like, and please correct me, is soft skills in the age of AI, something like that, right? It's blurry, but I see the words.
I have
Pull
the
it.
blur function on the back. It's soft skills in the age of AI, enhancing human potential in a tech-driven world.
Aha, okay. So tell us about this book. When did it come out, and how's it going for you?
It came out in January of this year, so 2025. Now, as you know, when you're dealing with anything in relation to artificial intelligence, a book written in January 2025 is completely obsolete. But it's not because I'm looking at the human skill. I'm looking at the idea that there's six soft skills that you need in the age of AI in order to prosper and be successful. AI will beat you in every category, but it won't beat you in that human touch. And I think we're quite a few years off before we can get to that level where artificial intelligence will beat you at human, essential human skills.
Are there more than six, or you just narrow down?
There are more than six, but I've been teaching soft skills now for almost 25 years, 22 countries, four continents, and I've identified the six that are the ones that we really need.
Okay, let's go. Number one.
Number one is creating legendary customer service. So, how are you going to give service to your family, your friends? So, I take it beyond just the customer and the the seller buyer. It's way beyond that. It's like how do you give relationship or customer service, unique customer service to everybody in your life? Now, that's based on a course that I wrote in the UK in 2000 and have been traveling the world doing this course. It's evolved over the years. The second one would
Wait,
be,
wait,
yes,
what's it called?
it's called creating legendary customer service.
Before you ask for the money.
Before you ask for the money.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or after.
Yeah. Usually before, yeah. And it should be, and that's the other thing is that customer service is not just about making the sale, it's about the long term. So if you're in it for the long game, too many people have a narrow minded view on the service that they give. I give you great service, and then once you've paid the bill, the service deteriorates.
Hmm.
And you see that a lot, don't you? Where you
Yeah,
pay for something
that's
and
normal.
the aftercare is pretty poor. Um, so the next thing is winning at sales and negotiation. So how do you build personal relationships in sales and negotiation so you have customers for life as opposed to customers as a one-shot deal? So
So
it's
it's
almost
win-win.
win-win. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost at an extension of the customer service. Like, how do I make every transaction a personal? I talk about people always talk about B2B sales, business to business. Well, in that course, I talk about I to I, individual to individual sales.
So a lot of trust is built.
Trust is critical.
Yeah.
Again,
So
AI. Do you trust AI?
no. So trust comes from rapport,
Yeah.
and rapport comes from being introduced somehow to someone. And so that's an amazing fragile time frame between point A and point C with B. So let's talk. A is an introduction or a
Yeah.
happenstance or even a cold call on LinkedIn.
Cold call. Yeah.
Okay. And then, if someone isn't kind or nice or interesting, they don't get to be. So, um, so B is okay, I'll listen. So it's establishing a channel, a rapport.
Yeah.
And if we're lucky, if I'm lucky, that rapport can go a little bit deeper, a step at a time, but not right away. It's not. It's not going down a roller coaster. It's a step by step. And if I mess up along that pathway, I trip, or I get anxious, or I forget who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing at that moment, getting it confused with somebody, something else, some emotion, or fear, then I'll never make it to the trust experience in that relationship. So there's a pathway
Sure.
between meet, greet, dialogue about something of mutual interest, building a, does it smell right? Does it feel right? Do I care? Uh, do I like the person's attire or appearance or method? And then that's rapport build.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and then, okay, so let's get to a hardcore topic of some kind. And then we exchange ideas, and then maybe there's a connection then on that point. And then there's some trust.
I think where a lot of salespeople go wrong or in the sales process is they don't listen. So
Hmm.
they've
Well, they're
got,
just pushing, pushing, pushing.
it's the old Dan Pink, to sell as human. It's the whole idea of who's the better salesperson, the introvert or the extrovert. Well, Pink argues it's the ambivert because the introvert's going to be a wallflower and not come out and do anything, possibly. The extrovert's going to be speaking about what they want to talk about, namely themselves. And the ambivert will be the one who might be listening, but also have the wherewithal to engage with you. So I think listening is critical.
Well, I've learned from doing 1,100 broadcasts since March of 2020, and you've been on several, that that's the beauty of Zoom.
Yeah.
If you do it right, if
Yeah,
you
no, I
do it
agree.
right. And
I agree.
a lot of people who use Zoom don't do it right. And so now I'm offering training um, about through practice and media prep and media tips through experiential times under a contract. I
Hmm.
call it media prep.
Okay.
That's my gig. And I'm finding there's a lot of interest in that, but wariness, being people are afraid. They're afraid of being duped, tricked, and then made to feel bad because they don't trust the process and they just back off, even though I may have not done something wrong. So, 6 steps, right? Where does that experience that I just described, what step is that? Is it
Well,
in number two?
I think you should have automatic reputation because you've been doing this for so long. So I can't see how somebody would fall into that trap of saying, "Well, I don't want to invest in this because I don't see the reputation here." So you have an established reputation with a lot of contacts and a deep history. So I can't see how that would be the stumbling block.
Thank you.
Yeah, it might well be something else along the line.
Uh,
It might be, do they see the perceived value in the pricing? Do they see the perceived value in the aftercare? How is it being marketed? Maybe that's something you need to go back and have a look at.
Good idea. I'll keep that in mind. All right, so we did number one. Once again, the name of number one.
Creating legendary customer service.
Uh-huh. Okay. Now, how do you do that? I mean, there's a rule book, but legendary customer service means you care about the person.
Yeah. You care about their experience. You want to make a memory for them. So, for example, if you work in hospitality, I began my career as a chef many, many years ago. I
In
used to
Dublin.
in Dublin, bang on, yeah. And I used to walk out with this was a rough pub in a rough part of town, and I used to walk out in the chef whites and the checkered pants, and I knew every customer. I knew every customer by name, where they, what they did, where they hung out at. I always had conversations with them. So you know, I actually was interested. I'm interested in talking to people. If they turn out to be phenomenally boring, I will try and move on to the next person. If they find me phenomenally boring, they might do the same. But I wanted to always build a relationship. So that relationship building resulted in the team from Guinness walking in and saying, "We want you to go and replicate this level of customer service in Italy." So here I was, a Canadian masquerading as an Irishman, sent off to Italy to run a chain of bars there. So that I began then after that, when I got to the UK, teaching people how to give that superior level of customer service where everything is possible within reason. And every single person you're trying to build a memory, a relationship, and an eye to eye, like I said before, an individual to individual experience.
So when you were doing that work at that time, did you have hair?
Not really, no. I think I lost my hair at quite a young age. Not sure the relevance here, but I lost it maybe from worry or stress. But no, I mean, I think probably when I lived in Italy, I did because I remember putting the being theatrical and putting the Brill cream in it. So there was some left.
Just want to get a timeline here.
Yes. I don't think
Okay.
you have this concern.
No, no, no. I got hair. A lot. Okay. So, um, injecting a little humor and telling jokes.
It's important.
So, winning trust. So, number one is legendary
Creating
customer
legendary customer
service.
service. Number two is winning at sales and negotiations. So how do you win and build that relationship and build a lifelong relationship? Why just try and sell something once to someone? Why not look at this as a lifetime relationship if you can, if your product is such? If you're working and you're selling Hyundai cars, you might move on to another dealership. So why not take those people with you? You think of things as lifelong customers, not customers for a one-shot deal. You'll
Got it.
make a lot more money as well as a salesperson.
Got it. Okay. Number three.
Number three is powerful presentations, public speaking. So, in other words, how do you articulate your ideas? How do you engage an audience and articulate your ideas, whether you're communicating one-on-one as we are now, or whether you're communicating with several thousand people at a conference? How do you articulate your ideas, keep them engaged, and make sure that they're learning something? There's some kind of takeaway from, or a call to action, even better. So that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And again, what are you going to do? Wheel a robot out to give a presentation? Maybe in time, but who's going to buy into that? So it's using one and two and then going one step further. So you're using that ability to sell and persuade and that ability to create an amazing experience for people. And then you're articulating those ideas to an audience.
Well, before we move on, I just want to add something about my hair. It wasn't,
Okay.
it used to be lower down, but
Uh-huh.
I don't remember exactly when, but in the past, I'm looking at photos in the past, and I think my hair was around here. But look what's happened here. That's like,
Mm-hmm. Wisdom.
I don't know.
Wisdom.
It's killing the follicles.
Wisdom. Yeah. In China, I lived in China for a number of years, and he who is bald is considered one who is very bright. So, in
Mm.
other words, I don't know if that's to do with it being pushed out or the brain is expanding, but it's actually, I felt great when I moved there and I saw that it was actually a symbol of respect as opposed to not a good thing.
That's funny. Okay, I'm trying to be serious here about winning trust. That's what it's
Okay.
all about, right?
Yeah,
Trust.
definitely.
I mean, all these things, the three steps we're talking about so far, you do that, you're going to win trust.
Sure, of
It
course.
doesn't matter what you're selling.
Well, I mean, again, the presentation as well as the authenticity. So if you have authenticity in those three, you're always going to win, or most of the time. 'Cause people don't get it. I mean, this is a great time for people to say, I know my job is going to be outsourced to AI at some point because it just It's natural. The deeper you dive into AI, you realize the capabilities, and we're just in the infancy of AI. What's it going to be doing in 5 years? You know? So possibly new jobs will come along to replace, but I don't know. But people that have those abilities to build rapport, as you mentioned earlier, is create memories for people, articulate ideas, build relationships. These are the people that are going to prosper. You know, I quoted Dan Pink earlier, and I seem to be a very big fan because I'm going to quote him again. He wrote a book, 2010, 2011, I can't recall, Whole New Mind, where he talked about how the right brain people were going to rule the world. And his whole concept was with automation, abundance, and something else wonderful. The right brain people, because these jobs can't necessarily be outsourced. The creative mind can't be outsourced properly to AI, whereas the left brain, analytical, sequential, logical, your accounting duties can all be outsourced to AI, and they'll do a better job.
Fascinating. So I use AI in these broadcasts as note takers.
Yeah,
Otter and now Gemini is getting involved, but and something else, Reader. Um, and I don't have to write that. I mean, it's all done.
yeah,
And but what I have to do is read what AI is putting out before I go public with that because it's stilted language. It's strange. It's like a computer, a robot talking.
for sure.
And so what I wind up doing when I have the time and the interest in the topic is rewriting it, but quoting that this was first done by AI and I'm rewriting, but not changing the meanings.
You know, I don't know how you mentioned how much you're working with it, but I don't know how much your regular audience is working with it. I would guess a lot. One of the requirements working as a professor in a university is you have to create publications. And I wrote one.
So you use it to record what you're doing and then it becomes publishable?
No, 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 no. What I did was I put it in and I just uploaded and said, "What do you think? I want you to grade this as if you're a reviewer."
Uh,
And it came back and said, "Oh, Dr. Woods, this is one of the most incredible concepts I've ever seen. It's a sycophant, the most incredible concept. It's worthy of Harvard Business Review, worthy of MIT." And I wrote back again saying, "Could you please review now like you're a proper, angry and frustrated person, and you're going to give me the honest truth." Oh, Dr. Woods, I'm afraid this is lacking in several areas. You might want to aim for the lower tier journals, and you still need to do some. So
it's just like on a dime, they
yeah,
became another person.
you got to make sure that you're really working properly with the prompts, or you just won't get the value out of it, and you'll get
Right,
garbage.
right.
Garbage in, garbage out, and that's what happens.
Right. So I was at the SHRM, Society of Human Resource
Yep,
Management. They gave me a press pass to
nice.
do PR. And part of the PR assignment was that I would go around to the booths, happenstance, just walking around the exhibit here, hall, and so I came across ADP. It's hard
Yep.
to miss, automatic data processing, ADP, huge company. And so they were a big sponsor of the SHRM. And there was 25,000 people down the street here at San Diego Convention Center.
How many? Sorry.
25,000, according to them.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was huge. So there's a lot going on. So I happened to catch the eye of this tall guy with a lot of hair, and he happened to be the media guy for ADP. And he was managing the people who were there to represent ADP, consultants, executives. One of the
Yeah.
executives was the product owner. I lucked out. The AI product
Okay.
of ADP was this charming, actually a beautiful woman, and super smart and very engaging just off the bat, less like that. And so we had a preliminary one-on-one with the media guy and some other lady, and for about 20 minutes or so. And I said, now what I really want to do is do a Zoom with you on pre-agreed topics. And so for your comfort and for your control. And that's media prep for you and media prep for me, frankly. And we'll have a one-on-one, and I may have one or two people join me. And they agreed. And so a
Okay.
month went by, and then the date came up for the interview, and it just went perfectly. Bottom line for that, I'll send it to you so you understand
Yeah,
what I'm
please.
talking about, is that she said, now they're selling AI services, so that and
Hmm.
it's a big deal, big company. So she says AI can do, you give it a project that used to be done all by people, and AI will do 80%, maybe that high, maybe a little less, of what needs to be done,
Yeah,
but cannot finish it. 20%, 25% must be human, and the human will deliver what AI has done and has to redo, reinterpret, repurpose, repackage, and then get it out there. But all of that would have been done with a lot of time and people power.
yeah. It's a partner. I tell
That's
my students this, it's a partner. You work with it. I get these submissions, and what I do now is I'll take an assignment and I'll shrink down some bizarre content. So I'll say, here's your assignment, and I'll shrink down a sentence like a drunken kangaroo is having a weekend in Sydney and has a gambling problem, and where would you suggest that he goes to enjoy the town? And then you'll get these wonderful summaries of the business plans that they're doing and whatever. Then all of a sudden, halfway through, there'll be a paragraph saying, "Well, when you're in Sydney, mate, you want to go to this bar and you want to do this and you want to do that," because they don't read what they're writing. So I always call them aside, and I don't penalize them. A lot of the professors do. I say if you're not using AI, this is a big mistake. But you need to be reading it and you need to be learning from it and you need to be challenging as opposed to just copy and paste. Because it's not learning if you're just copying and pasting. But how can you tell people not to use any form of AI when in the workplace they have to use it to survive? Do you know what I mean?
so,
So
yeah. So in the otter, which is basically a note taker
yeah,
of
they're great.
my, and then, but after they do all this and that, on the side, there's a chat
Mhm.
where ask Otter anything, okay, relevant to what the topics were. And so I ask a question of something or other, and uh, whatever they come up with is extensive and very clear, and they say, AI asks you have a follow-up question. And and so I have this conversation, then I get all that stuff, and it's really time consuming, but um, it's really effective. And then I take all of that, I take the summary notes, and then I take that, what I edit out of that, the net, and I put it into the PR of that particular show. Now, all this is relatively new. I, back when we did the last interview months ago, oh, I I didn't do it. I was afraid of it. I
Mm.
didn't even want to try it. But now I see the value of it.
There's two things are people are afraid of with AI. Two things. They fear that it's going to take away their job, so job displacement, and just the fear of the unknown. But because I always ask when I start off a seminar, who's using AI on a regular basis? And even 6 months ago, it would be 20% of the audience, depending on the audience, but 10, 20, 30%. Now I'm asking and I'm getting like 80 or 90%, but it just depends on what their definition of using AI is. If their definition of using AI is just doing a little bit of chat GPT, then that's fine. But you can't escape it. But the whole idea of the book is you can't escape it. It's going to do a better job in all the routine and mundane tasks. How are you going to utilize your human skills and your human ability to outsmart it? And you can. You can, but those are those uniquely human skills. Here's an example. Another point, so we'll fast forward to another point in the book of the six soft skills, empathy. So, if you call a human being and you say, I missed my flight this morning, I'm getting married in, Bora Bora this afternoon, and I've missed, well, I guess you need a little bit more of a lead time, but you see where I'm going. I'm getting married in Bora Bora tomorrow. I've got to be there. My family's there, and I missed my flight. The AI will say, Section 794, Rule 12 states that if you miss your flight, you ain't going. End of story, no arguing, no changing. A human will say, wow, you're getting married. You know what? We've got three extra seats in there. Let's do it. You know what I mean? It's that kind of difference that AI is never going to have that, or probably will never have that human touch. So people that work and focus on those right brain activities and that human touch are going to just fly and the rest will be left behind. Now they need to. One of the things that came up at this conference I was at last week was it's not the people, it's not AI that's going to take your job. You've probably heard this before. It's the people that know how to work with it that are going to take your job. So if you're brushing up on your soft skills, also working with AI, learning how to utilize its strengths and using your human skills to avoid its weaknesses, you're going to fly. You're going to prosper. There's no need to be scared of it. You have to use it. It's here. It's not going anywhere.
So let's review the points so far. So you started out saying there's six. So the
Yep.
first one was
Creating legendary customer service. So that personal relationships with your customers but everyone is your customer, your family, I always joke that my wife is my customer. Why? I want to keep her happy so she doesn't go to the competition. You know, come on, like your friends, your business colleagues, you want to keep everybody, you want to deliver a high level of service to everyone. Number two, how do you win at sales and negotiation? So how do you make sure that the customer feels like they're getting value or whoever you're selling to, but also you're building a personal relationship. So it's not a one-off deal. You build relationships where you sell and work together for a lifetime, not just a one-off. Yeah. The third one being empathy. Yeah, or sorry, presentation skills, powerful presentation skills. So how do you articulate your ideas and engage with people? Yeah, and they all link into each other, the first three. The next one being empathy. The fifth one being cross-cultural communication, like how in such an incredibly multicultural world and a world where we're selling all over the planet, how do you build relationships with people across cultures, understanding their viewpoints and taking the time again to listen. And then the last one is innovation and creativity. So I have students that send me, I had a student send me a song the other day that the AI wrote about my teaching abilities. This was a student who needed an elevation in their grade, so they felt the need to send me this incredible,
flattery. It sounds
uh,
like a Donald Trump trick.
and unbearable though, Ed. It was unbearable. It was about how I was a legendary teacher and I was changing their lives and the lives of everyone around me. Um, will it have an impact on their grades? I doubt it, but I mean, flattery goes a long way. But those are the six. If you have those six skills, how can you fail?
So where is I'm human, so I'm trying to remember what you just said.
That's all right.
And now I just forgot it. Wait a minute.
No
Ah,
worries.
shit. Okay. Where is in your six? Oh no. The words. My cognitive decline is setting in. I think I don't know. It just went away. So okay. So I'm a customer and I'm listening to you on customer potential. And so, and I love your tone and your delivery and your gesticulations because
Gesticulare.
we're performers. We're Michael Jackson in the early days, and just capturing the imagination of people through performance. And then what goes wrong?
In the sales process,
Yeah.
usually it's the product. If your product is not good and you can't, I always say to people, there's a restaurant up the street from where I live here, and we lived in the same area 10 years ago before I went off to China, uh, and came back recently. I walked into the restaurant, and the woman looked at me, and this is not the best food in town at all. The woman looked at me she hadn't seen me in 10 years. She said, Andrew, how are you? You think I go anywhere else?
I'm
You
not
think I
sure
go anywhere
remember
else?
that.
The food isn't great, but we go there on a regular basis because they
Yeah.
they remember what we order, they make it a special experience. And for me, product is important, but attitude, relationships, individual to individual service levels is critical because I'm paying for an experience. And I'm telling you, the food is not awful. The food is actually acceptable. They're just better restaurants around our house, but they don't treat you in the same warmth and the same feeling that you get. So we don't go to them because when we go there, we're kind of ignored and they get really busy and they just don't make you want to spend hard-earned money on them. Whereas this other place, I go every time. I love it. I love the way I'm treated. That's the difference. It's that personal touch. And it can be, you can insert that into every element of your life. Like I say, is you can do that with your friends, your family, and it doesn't cost you anything, but it makes people come back.
So I'm going to use AI
Okay.
later today
Yep.
when all the notes come in. Um, and I'm going to learn what those 6 items are that I should have remembered, but I can't enunciate them at the moment. But AI is going to be there to help.
Somebody wrote me the other day who bought a copy of the book. It said, it was for someone who was at this conference I was at. It said, I couldn't remember your name. And I typed in the title of the book, and actually AI told me about the book and it's interesting, this book, because I mentioned I teach a lot of students, and I've got a lot of corporate clients as well, but I teach a lot of students. This book was written for students. It even says that in the Amazon, when you're buying it, it says this is written for, because I had a lot, the academics come out and they say, well, how come you're not quoting, John Johnston 2012 and his groundbreaking research? Nobody's interested in that, right? Um, but it began as something for early career professionals, and I'm finding it's selling a lot among people that are already established, that are still very curious to understand how they can elevate their career. So I'm almost tempted to go back into Amazon and take that part out, but yeah, I mean, it's really for anyone who wants to understand and enhance. And like I said, there's an academic piece coming out just to keep everyone happy. It's an academic piece coming out that I've written as part of my requirements as being a professor, which I'm happy to, upload or send to you, or you can upload to anyone listening to this. Yeah.
Fascinating speaking with you. So books and authors is a hot category for me on the TV talk show business. There's a lot of authors out there. And so what's your next book? I'm sure you're thinking of,
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I'm glad
or
you
or
asked.
AI is thinking of it.
I'm glad you asked because I live in Canada and I've spent most of my adult life outside of Canada. And we have what I believe is a challenge with success. We, I correct me if I'm wrong, but in the United States generally, this is a generalization, people that are successful, people look at them and say, well, I want to be that guy or I want to try and emulate that. Yeah. In Canada and somewhat in Britain, when I lived in Britain, it's more like, well, who the hell does that guy think he is? Do you know what I mean? There's like kind of I believe it pulls us down. It pulls down the level of productivity and the level of ambition. So I'm doing I've just started. I've got the kind of the chapters all mapped out, the book mapping, and I'm looking at success in the age of AI. So what is success now? What does it look like? What are obstacles to it? And been playing around with that a fair bit and not quite sure whether I'm going to go down the format of interviewing people and asking them what success looks like to them, how they got to where they got, because I think that's something that's been done multiple times, or if I'm going to just explore the concept of success and how it's evolving and why, in particular, certain cultures view success in different ways than other cultures. I think it's a fascinating concept, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll be invited back here in 18 months to talk about that.
So let's, as we come to a
Maybe
closer
not.
in the next few minutes. Yeah, well, yes, I'll look at my AI notes and remember what you just said.
Perfect.
But okay, so gee, I just forgot what I was going to say. Jeez. Okay, yeah, I got it. Canada versus the U.S., but from a political point of view. Uh,
Okay.
but but now, and you can redirect me if you don't want to get into this. It's not political. but it's in the news. And, you know, are Canadians really pissed off at Americans? I didn't even know that until
I
this
don't.
dust up
Yeah,
happened
I
because of
don't
Trump.
think so. I think that there's a media here is pretty much state run. It's very heavily subsidized by the particular party in power. And I think that, I've seen people writing saying, well, I've been at the border, and I've been at the border a couple times recently, and I had a wonderful experience. Like, you know, hey, how are you? Welcome to the US. None of this stuff I'm seeing on the TV. I don't think Americans. I think there's always been a little bit of kind of hostility, and that might come down to, not hostility is the wrong word, but it's always been maybe a rivalry, or maybe a jealousy of some of the size of the country, the success. I'm not sure. Maybe that comes down to what I just spoke about earlier about this viewing success in a different way. So I don't think generally people are anti-American. Um, there might be some people that are upset, but you have to differentiate between the government that will be around for 4 years, although they're talking about being around for more than 4 years, but a government of the day as opposed to a long-term, long-standing relationship. So I think whatever areas have suffered under this relationship will rebound over time. It's too critical a relationship, and it's been too many years that this relationship has been so tight. So I don't see it, and I certainly don't hear people saying. I mean, you can't. You'd have to be very. I mean, it's a bit of a harsh statement, but very low IQ to say, okay, I don't like all Americans because of one person is changing. I mean, that's just a bad way of looking at things. You know, it's certainly a different culture and different ways of doing business and a little bit more direct than Canada. But I think ultimately we're quite similar. And I don't see this lasting for a long time. And certainly I don't think too many people have real animosity towards the American people.
On this note, let me ask you a question about Quebec,
Sure,
Montreal, as a urban center.
sure.
Beautiful place, but it's been years and years since I've been there. And I was there in the dead of winter, and it was just lively and full of snow and really cold, but just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very different than Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Culturally, it's
Yeah. It's
because
much
of the
more.
French influence.
It's much more European, so it's more joie de vie. Having a nice red glass of wine in the middle of the day. It's less corporate. These are just my impressions of my. I've been there multiple times. Um, Different attitudes. Very, very European in style. And Quebec City is even more European. But again, this is just my observations. I don't know if I was in Toronto last week. That's a very corporate. Uh, but I like Toronto because it's hustle and bustle, but you can still strike up great conversations with people when you meet in certain scenarios. Um, I love where I live now it's a very beautiful city. As you've been to Vancouver, a little bit slow on the business side, but a beautiful place. But Montreal is very unique. I think the French culture there is fabulous. The food is fabulous. You get so many different varieties. It's really worth checking out.
So the province of Saskatchewan. Now, this is just upper Midwest, right?
Sure.
That's just
Yeah.
the Great Plains of North America, right?
Mm, um, I
So,
mean, it would be, I guess, similar. It's called the Prairies. I've never been. I've never been to Saskatchewan. I've been to some of the other provinces around there. Very mineral rich, a lot of resources, potash. I didn't even know what potash was until recently. Potash, fertilizer, mining. Quite a wealthy province, actually. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Thanks for being my guest again on
Love it.
the show.
Anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, take care.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, this is Ed signing off in San Diego. That was a tour de force. Amen. Thank you.